Welcome to Divine Downloads, the show where you get the spiritual wisdom and the practical tools to help you bring your vision into reality. And today's episode is all about mystical experiences and manifesting in honor of this upcoming new moon in Pisces, and me, your host, Cassandra, being a Pisces sun herself. So I want to be clear up front with this episode that while these themes are very top of mind and juicy with this new moon that we have coming up on March 13th, the information that I'm sharing with you about mystical experiences and their connection to manifesting are eternal, last way beyond this new moon. And before we dive in, I'm also going to be offering, I'll link it below, a on-demand virtual workshop for this Pisces new moon, where you'll be able to, whenever you're listening to this, if you'd like to go on a meditative and breathwork journey to connect to the mystical and to connect to a lot of the themes that we're going to be talking about in this podcast, like really connecting to our dream world, to the quantum field, to mystical experiences in a way that inform us of how we can call them down and allow them to help us make real progress here in the 3D in our world. I hope that you will check out that workshop and chat. I'll be talking more in depth about the new moon, as well as leading you on a magical journey to really get you into a dream state and a mystical place where you can connect with a different realm of possibility for yourself and what wants to come through for your soul. So that's all below. And now that being said, let's dive in. So a few weeks ago, I was on a meditation retreat for my birthday, which was February 24th. And I randomly did an impromptu IGTV episode that kind of inspired this podcast, which was talking about the connection with mystical experiences and manifesting, because it was something that was really severed for me for many years, and I really see how much it also hindered me from a lot of from tapping into the immense power that I had in that realm for many years, because I couldn't really see the full picture. I would see these kind of more mystical experiences, whether they happened in dreams, whether they were flashes that happened during my day, whether they were moments in the bath or during meditation or during breath work. I would see them as almost I would equate them to like when you watch a TV show, right? Where they were like these really magical experiences, and I would get to go to different lifetimes, or I would see different realms, or I would connect with angels, or I would experience myself in a different form, or be in different parts of the galaxy, right? And I really thought a lot of it was just very escapist. I thought a lot of it was very honestly, the same way that right now I'm not a big TV watcher, right? For this reason, because I just feel like, oh, well, it's just escaping reality, and we're here on earth to be on earth. And so it took me a while to kind of figure out and put these pieces together of how do these mystical experiences really connect to us on earth, and what we're here to do on earth, and what our soul wants to do on earth. And this birthday, I really believe I got a massive download around this, and so many things finally are coming together. And this Pisces new moon, this is really a beautiful new moon for so many of us to have this realization, right? And like I said, this realization is eternal, it's evergreen. But this new moon in Pisces brings us up. We right now, as I'm recording this, which is inspiring the energy for this conversation and the transmission that you're receiving, regardless of when you're hearing this, is we have Pisces in the moon and Venus, and Neptune, which is Pisces ruling planet, right? So we have this really beautiful Piscean energy, which is this energy of rebirth, this energy of your soul's dream, this energy of the mystical. Um, and it's reminding us that, we here on earth, because we're living in the 3D, we're living in physical reality, we often assume to quote unquote plant a seed or set an intention or start a new thing. Our go-to is often doing, right? Is sending the email, is even to break it down like this, and I do this myself, but even the act of being like, I have to write down my intentions, right? Or I'm gonna do this ritual, right? Even though the ritual and that kind of thing is, on the border, right, of dancing between the worlds, but on some level it's also like very grounding, right? And then even more Capricornian or 3D, let's say, would be, creating your action plan and writing your to-do list and seeing what you need to do. Whereas right now, this like mystical Pisces infusion and the gift that Piscean energy, wherever you have it in your chart, or if you're just experiencing it through Pisces season right now and this new moon in Pisces, or we all have all of the different elements in our chart, right? So where you have Pisces in your chart, if you look it up, is the area where a lot of the principles I'm going to share with you are going to be really, really helpful. However, I think in general, if you're resonating with this, it's a sign, because this doesn't just apply to Pisces, or it doesn't just apply to around the Pisces new moon. This is a message for all of us. It's so easy to get caught up here on earth with feeling like we need to do everything from the physical, like we constantly have to be physical, doing physical to change the physical. And for those metaphysicists around us, right? For those of us who believe in the quantum, who believe that they're an energy, right? And everything is energy, and we can shift energy, and we can transform energy, and the law of attraction, and all of this. There is so much more than meets our physical eye, and I think that's something that has been really clear to me from a very young age, being a Pisces with a lot of Pisces in my chart. And also, this connection between the mystical and manifesting here in earth form, right? And when I think about manifesting, I almost think of, it's more of the productive, right? It's what we're getting to see. It's the gestation of our ideas, of our dreams, of our thoughts, of something that was a thought or a desire or a dream actually appearing in our physical reality. And so oftentimes, to take it back to what I was telling you kind of about these mystical experiences that I've had, I never thought they were productive, right? I always thought that they were, instead of helping me with my life, I thought they were just these kind of like magical glimpses that I had to escape from this life. And oftentimes when I was younger, I would yearn to not come back, not in, I want to be clear, not in the way that I was going to harm myself, but in the place that I yearned for a place other than this realm that felt more like home, that I was able to visit in certain situations, right? When I was in meditation, or when I was in dream state, or when I was in these in between states, the mystical often finds us in these in between states. And to clarify that, it's, in brainwave, you would talk about it as like in our theta brainwave, right? So it's like that moment right before you fall asleep, when you're completely relaxed, but you're not quite asleep yet. You're in the in between. And same thing in the morning, when you kind of wake up, but you're not fully awake yet. You haven't opened your eyes yet. You're still in that in between. You're still fully half in the dream, half in the reality. And I would say that those words really loosely, dream and reality, because there have been so many experiences, quote unquote, in the dream, as someone might say, or in other in the quantum field, you could say, that have felt so much more real to me than anything in this reality. And many people will say that. If you've had an experience like that, I'm sure you're nodding your head right now being like, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. And it's really beautiful. But so here's the nugget. Here's the nugget as we move into these Pisces new moon, and as you clearly you come to this podcast because you're ready for this transmission, is that being able to go into this, let's say, the in between, which is where we go when we meditate. So the times when everybody naturally has it are those two times that I shared. Usually right when you wake up and right before you go to bed. We all slip through it. Most of us don't pay much attention to it and therefore don't utilize it, or just kind of slip right through it. Now you'll pay a little bit more attention because you know. Why meditation is so powerful is because we can get into that same space through our meditation. And that's also why meditation is helpful on every level. But if you are someone that wants to have deep, profound experiences in meditation, then a longer meditation practice is truly necessary. I have found that, I have meditated for many, many, many hours, for, I don't know, probably up to 5 hours is my longest meditation. I regularly meditate for an hour at a time, a couple times a day. And that's not to say that everyone needs to do that. You can receive a lot of the stress reduction and health benefits of meditation in just 15-20 minutes a day. But if you're really looking for a deep, juicy experience of the unknown, of the quantum field, of the 5D, of different timelines or whatnot, then a longer practice is necessary, because your body simply needs to get to that state where you can drop it, right? Where you can be like, when you're in that space between sleep and waking, you're not really in your body, right? When you're in your dream world, you're not conscious of your body at all, right? When you're sleeping, right? When you're sleeping, of course, you're not thinking about your body. You're asleep. But right in that moment, before you go into sleep, before you go into dream, you're also not conscious of your body. So in our meditation, we have to get to that point where we relax so much that we loose ourselves from the body. And in that space, we enter what is the infinite. What is the infinite? I like to call it the infinite ocean, because to me, it's like this infinite galactic ocean that's like warm and loving and safe and endless, right? And everybody has their own different experiences like that, but most people describe it similar ways, but maybe they're different interpretation, right? A lot of people just think space. Maybe it's my Pisces in me that has me thinking it's the ocean. But in these moments, why is it so important, right? This is what I finally got. Why is it not just trippy or taking ourselves out of reality or, distracting ourselves? It's because in these moments, if we understand what we're doing, we understand the true nature of reality. Mic drop. So in these moments, if we understand what we're doing, we understand the true nature of reality, which means in these moments, we realize that we are not our body, that we are not our physical circumstances, and we have a visceral experience of the truth of who we are. And this is something, my whole program community called Divinely Design Your Life, the process, is all about this process, right? Of remembering who you truly are, remembering your divine, connecting to the spirit realm, connecting to the quantum, figuring out how to shift this. And the reason why that's, my signature offering is because I truly believe that's like what we're here to do. And when you do that, then whatever you want on this earthly plane, you can manifest, because you start to see as it's actually not that big of a deal, right? And to elaborate that is, one, I want to go back to just say, we're entering an age of experience. And that's why, I not only created divinely design your life to help facilitate. There's meditations with every module to help facilitate that experience, because it's not just about hearing me tell you this, it's about experiencing it for yourself. And that Pisces new moon on demand meditation and oceanic breath work that I'm going to do is also, it's there to facilitate an experience for you, because I can yipper yapper about this on, and I'm sure it's opening things up and it's seeding things and it's giving you a transmission of itself. But what will profoundly change you is you being in that meditation, is you experiencing this infinite abyss, this loving, magical ocean of everything and nothingness. um, and realizing that in that moment, you are a spark of the divine, and you, in that endless abyss, have infinite possibilities for what you can create in your life. And that space, this, whether you call it the quantum field or the infinite abyss or the in-between or the 5D, whatever you want to call it, in that space where we become a spark of love, where we become divine, where we just feel our essence and kind of drop our body attachment, even for 20 minutes, we are infinitely powerful, right? And so in that realm, what happens is we can then access new levels of what gets created in our 3D reality. So for instance, when you have these, if you have these mystical experiences, let's say, we have one of the modules in Divinely Design Your Life is all about talking to angels or spirit guides, right? So if you have an experience where you talk to your angel or your spirit guide, and they're gonna, you'll get the kind of advice and the kind of guidance and knowing and direction that you get from those meetings is nothing short of otherworldly. You'll literally receive things that you'll be like, wow, that was exactly what I needed to hear, and so far from my consciousness, right? Or maybe you'll hear like, wow, the way that was communicated was the exactly way I needed to see it. Or perhaps you'll have images or be shown things, right, that give you that profound experience. When we realize that, wow, we have tools, we have capabilities far beyond, calling up our parents and saying, not to say that that's not a thing you could do, but, far beyond calling up our earthly friends and saying, hey, what do you think about this? Because when we call up our earthly friends, and that's an excellent thing to do if you have great ones, or if you work with a mentor or someone that knows like what you're trying to do, is great tool for sure. But you also have a realm of dealing with their own earthly stuff, right? Their own limitations, their own, when you talk to a spirit guide, when you talk to an angel, when you talk to a loved one who has passed on, they don't, when you talk to the divine, when you talk to your highest self, they don't have any of that earthly baggage. They are only in a realm of infinite possibilities. They're not talking to you from their limiting beliefs. They're not talking to you from their childhood trauma. You get this beautiful divine insight. When we connect to, in my experience, anytime I've connected to a different timeline or lifetime, it's always been with a reason. There was either something that was playing out in this lifetime that was from a different lifetime, and I needed to see how it originated to be able to squash it in the current timeline I was present in. Or there was a lesson for me to take from that to bring into my present day reality. But it's always informing us everything. And that's, I think, one of the biggest thing. All of these mystical experiences, all of these things that happen in our dream world, all of these, when we allow ourselves to drift beyond what our five senses can see, touch, feel, hear, is we drift into a realm whose only intention is the expansion of our soul, right? Whose only intention is our purest and highest good. And the more time we get to spend in that arena, the more we bring our dreams, our hopes, our desires, the things that we want to manifest to that arena, the easier things shift in the 3D, because we are handling it at a higher level, right? And so to just spell it out, the reason mystical experiences can be really helpful with manifesting is because you realize that you are not at a victim of the laws of planet Earth. You're not a victim of the laws of 3D. You don't have to succumb to them. You can make the impossible possible. You can tap into this otherworldly guidance and advice and knowledge and capabilities when you're not constantly identifying with your 3D circumstances in reality. So the sweet spot of having these experiences, of committing to longer meditations, doing explorations like the new moon breathwork thing, or whatever your pleasure is, whether it's sound baths or breathwork, long meditations, things that get you into that space where you can connect to the field, where you can connect to that infinite abyss and be above your body, right? In those moments, what happens is that we stop identifying with our 3D limitations, right? When your eyes are open, when you're awake, when you're writing your to-do list, when you're talking to your friend or whoever, whatever you're doing, when you're banging through your calendar appointments, you are fully saturated in your present day reality. And there's a lot of kind of manifestation techniques that just teach you to be in your 3D reality, but be saying all these affirmations, be listening to these affirmations, keep saying, I'm abundant, I can make this happen, I'm going to do that, love is mine, like whatever it is. But if you're constantly being bombarded with the senses of your current circumstances, like good luck. Because every time those affirmations come up, your five senses are just saying, yep, no, nope, nope. Actually, they're reinforcing how much that's not true for you right now. So for us to kind of skip that, right, for us to get to the space of creation, the space where we get to tap into that, is for us to get into the mystical, is for us to get into the magical, is for us to get into the miraculous, for us to get out of our 3D and get into the 5D, for us to get out of our body and get into our soul, for us to touch the divine, for us to connect to the divine in us and remember. And again, like I said, the experience of palpably connecting to the divine is unlike the experience, just like the better, probably example would be the experience of connecting to the energy and the frequency of abundance is light years away from how one might feel when they say, I am abundant 1,000 times in a row, right? Even if you're smiling, even if you're jumping, maybe you get there eventually if you're doing it 1,000 times. But when you go into the unknown, let's say when you go into this space, it's there for you, right? And you can touch it, and you can experience it and what it is and how true it feels and how real it feels for you. And you can spend time with it there, so that when you return to your 3D reality, when you return to the world of the five senses, you have it with you. It's there. It's, you now know what that genuine experience feels like, which then will naturally attract more of it into your 3D reality, because you've gone above, you've gone into the field, and now you're bringing it down into your 3D reality, because you're bringing the feelings and the knowings and the emotions back down with you after you have these experiences. So this new moon in Pisces, or whenever you're listening to this, I hope it is a nudge in the right direction. If you've been having mystical experiences, or if you've been curious about mystical experiences, or you've been reflecting maybe on why a certain kind of manifesting might not be working for you, I hope that this unlocks some things for you. I hope it opens your eyes. I'm here if you have more questions about it, if you want to talk more about this. Feel free to leave comments on the YouTube video, hit me up in the DMs. If like I said, if you're interested in having an experience of this and tapping into this Pisces new moon energy, which is literally telling us this, it's like this is how we should be setting our intentions for the next 6 months. We should be going into the mystical, going into the dream world, connecting with our soul, allowing ourselves to believe our impossible dream because we're tapping into its frequency in the field and not allowing ourselves to remain at the limitation of our 3D being. That's not Pisces. Pisces is like, let's handle it. Let's handle it on the spiritual level. Let's handle it on the soul level. Let's sit back. Let's receive. Let's let it flow, right? It's a water sign. It is about flowing. It's not about pushing. It's not about it's not, I don't want to say it's not about achieving, but it's not about that kind of achieving where you're constantly hustling and pushing. It's about literally like imagining yourself. The visual I get is standing in front of the ocean as the waves are just flowing to you, right? It's that feeling of life just gets to flow to you. And that is what's possible. And we start creating from this different level. And of course, if you're like super excited by this and really interested in learning more and working on this level, then I definitely recommend you join us in Divinely Design Your Life, the process. It is my signature program. It's where I spend all of my energy, where I am for people to ask questions and hold space. And we have our monthly gatherings where we do different vibrational attunements and check in with different things and have deeper downloads of things like this, as well as we meditate together. Because when we meditate in community, it also gives us that energy to go even deeper often than we go by ourselves. So for free to check that out. Thank you for listening to Divine Downloads, and I will see you on the next episode.